So I brought my kids to mass last year for the first time since they were young, and we were kind of, how do I best put this? The priest was woke. That's the best way to do it. The priest was woke, and he pretty much gave out to us for being all these things. We were accused of being homophobic and racist.
But you were personally?
No, not us. Everyone that was in everyone that was in
the church
attendance
was basically lectured.
It's Christmas Eve. It was absolutely beautiful.
It was Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve is a beautiful church that I had gone to when I was young. A real old church, Redemptorist, and beautiful church. Priest that was saying mass, fantastic. I was absolutely loving every aspect of it. It was so traditional. It had like a sense of nostalgia. And then midway through, we had like a substitution, and this other priest decided to get up on the pulpit, and we were in the middle of the C-19 situation, and he was banging on about that, about how everyone was, not doing their bit. Then it went to homophobia, then it was racist, and then it went all the way to America to a very unfortunate incident that happened where a man lost his life with a boot on the neck. And we were we were put under the umbrella of being responsible for all boots on the neck. It was, I almost stood up and walked out of the church. My first experience been back in years.
Oh man.
And you don't want to paint that specific church with the same brush, because the first priest was beautiful. It was lovely mass, and you're just wondering how did Catholicism get to there? Now, again, that is a rhetorical question, because we know how it got to there, especially in liberal democracy or whatever. But is that something that you have ever experienced or ever heard of or ever seen?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's there for sure, but there are also other possibilities. It's not the only thing that exists in Christianity, and it's also these more, let's say, these types of churches, they're dying.
Yeah,
they're vanishing, and they're vanishing by their own hand, you could say. And so I think that there's a kind of, it's just they're gonna get weeded. There's gonna be a weeding, and things are gonna, people that are serious about Christianity and don't see it as a political tool will be the ones who will continue on. And so I would say to maybe be more deliberate about the church you go to.
Yeah.
And to look into it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not too well versed. I know that there's a Latin mass that happens here in my town, and people have advised me to head towards there because it's a lot less woke. Can you imagine actually hearing that sentence when you're talking about, the church?
Yeah. No, you're right. And so it's for sure it's possible that if there's a Latin mass, then you'll have less of that for certain. There'll be more, because in church, anyways, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to comment on the gospel. Like the sermon is supposed to be a comment on the gospel. And as soon as as a priest goes off from the comment on the gospel, you're in trouble, no matter what it is that they're saying, because they're weaponizing the liturgy. Because in liturgical churches, we are not mega evangelical mega churches where the pastor is king and the pastor can just say whatever they want. In the church, we have a liturgical year, and there's a gospel reading, and you're supposed to do a comment on the gospel. You're supposed to help the Christians understand what this gospel means and how it applies to their lives. That's your role when you give your homily in church. And that's as true for the Orthodox as for the Catholic. So as soon as a priest starts doing something else, even whether it's woke or whether it's nationalism or whether it's like whatever side it is, you're in trouble, because it's a weaponizing of the liturgy for other means. And so sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, and again, like when you're looking for that kind of nostalgic solace from somewhere on Christmas Eve, it's not exactly where you want to be. You don't want to be talking down to it like that, especially when you're making an effort after so many years. And I felt like, we're talking about a generation now in the last 2 years that are searching for something, they're longing for something with meaning, and it is tangible because I'm understanding it myself. And as I said, I'm not very well versed in anything, but I can understand that there's a meaning to what the likes of yourself and Jordan Peterson are saying. And I think it's tarnished then when you go to practicality and you're almost hunted out of the church.
Oh yeah, man.
It,
I mean, the
it's
enemies of
ugly.
Christians are Christians. The subversion of the church happens from within. It doesn't happen from without. It happens at first from inside. And so it's a difficult time right now, and we have to be more deliberate. Like if you are going to want to reconnect to Christianity, you sadly you won't be able to just waltz into a church. You'll have to look into it, to find out who the priest is, to find out what's going on there, to find out what the values of the parish that you're attending is. It's going to become inevitable.